Hi, it is Wednesday, the 21st of April. Welcome to our podcast. We're going to talk about some things in the news that have interested us over the last week. I'm Nick, and this
I'm
is
Jay.
Jay. You're an active investor in, I say active, investor in Dogecoin. You like Doge and all of its
I wouldn't want
code.
to give any financial advice at all. But yeah, there's an article here from CNET. Dogecoin has passed 40 cents.
That's
This was
mad.
just
That's
a
actually
meme.
good.
Yeah, it was just a meme, and now it's currently over $48 billion in value as a
That's the
coin.
market cap, 48
Um,
billion.
yeah,
That's crazy. Because I EOS is a coin I follow, and I think that's only 56 billion in market cap. Yeah, it literally says like in the article, I can screen cap that and add it in. It's a meme coin. Like I'm just having a look. I mean, I personally don't believe in it. I think that Dogecoin is the biggest bubble, like out of all the cryptos that are well known, and there's so many now. At what point do we just call it a day and be like, you know, after the first 500 cryptocurrencies, it got a little bit saturated. You
well, the thing is, it's all about support. See, if it doesn't matter how crap the coin is, if you've got people supporting it, people using it, people mining it, it will continue to exist. So I think the fact that it is a meme coin that kind of gives it strength in a way.
I mean, yeah, I never underestimate the power of memes. Like some of the content I've been watching, like a lot of the stuff I've been watching recently is kind of meme based, and it's an interesting because it's becoming an art form in and of itself. And I'm probably going to be the first person to go on record on any podcast to say that memes are becoming an art. Sorry, I'm kind of veering away from the cryptocurrency, but we'll come back to it in a second. Like a lot of people can tell stories while kind of in a meme format, and it's really great for viral marketing. And you know, you can create like a multi-part series that's basically just memes and just like bullshit, but it kind of creates a lore around the product. Like if somebody made like a Dogecoin like 4-part series that's just jokes and it's like got this high stakes drama, I'd probably watch it if it was on YouTube just for like for the bands.
Well, memes definitely are an art form. Um, but yeah, I think that kind of gives Dogecoin its power, really,
Yeah, I
which
mean,
is good.
it's I think because it knows who its audience is and who it's catering to and where it originated from, it's got that it's had support built in from the outset. I don't think anyone expected it to be taken seriously.
So I mean, that kind of leads me on then, really, to this Reuters article of Britcoin. What do you think
Britcoin.
about the UK starting their own bank-backed cryptocurrency?
That is, I mean, I think it's inevitable, and I think honestly, I think it's a good thing. And the reason I say this is because I can't think of another nation that I can think of that said, hell, let's take the dive. Let's make our currency a cryptocurrency. Because our currency is basically digital at this point anyway. Like when I spend money on my debit card, nobody goes into the bank vault and goes, oh, that's Nick's account, that's his drawer, and takes like £8 out of my account when I spend £8. It's all done digitally anyway. So why not, you know, have something built in where the transaction fees go like as they do on cryptocurrencies, your transaction fees go back into the blockchain. Um, I think it's a really good idea. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has its value, but I think probably the scariest thing, it's probably a bit of a kind of a tin foil hat conspiracy, but with a digital currency, if someone decides that they don't want you to be, you know, able to function, they could basically make your coins not exist. They could make your transactions not be, receivable or sendable. Where at least if you've got a bunch of £10 notes, you can still buy things.
I
Um,
see where you're coming from, but
it
I
could
mean,
give a lot of power to someone.
I'm just kind of playing catch up on this article now. Yeah, but like one of the benefits to a cryptocurrency is that it's decentralized. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
but this will be
assuming,
bank owned, so
yeah,
it will
because
be
this is bank code.
centralized.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I was literally just thinking. Because it is bank owned, yeah, you have that possibility. It's one of those things. I don't think anything's going to be able to replace fiat currency, not in the next 50 years. And because, what happens when we're on the crypto standard and, somebody wants to travel to Spain? How do they then take their money off that network and put it into, I don't know, euros or whatever Spain's going to have in 50 years? Um, so
I think the hope is that if all of the countries embrace it, then you wouldn't need to convert to travel at all. You just, your Bitcoin or whatever would be valuable wherever.
no, that makes sense, and it's a great thing, but a lot of power does come from our money is worth this and our buying power is this. If there's a universal currency, then again, I've been to quite a few countries in Europe that have a universal currency. However, the difference between buying power is ridiculous. Switzerland compared to I was going to say France, but that's not a good comparison. Switzerland compared to Italy, like south of Italy, is like a lot cheaper than like a capital city in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, you can still kind of buy in with your, with your home currency anyway. So,
Yeah.
it shouldn't affect that at all, really.
No, true. I'm just going over the article quickly. I think as soon as the establishment recognizes it and legitimizes it and then adopts it, that's when the next level of, I don't know if you're going to call it underground or grassroots, innovation is going to happen once the thing that was originally innovation has been adopted and legitimized, and people are like, well, they're using it wrong. Because that's what's going to happen. Somebody's created something amazing, and then they've taken all the aspects that make it usable, but like streamlined it and cut out the parts that are not usable, but not legitimate. Not, do you know what I mean? Like anonymity is a really big factor, but they're going to strip away all aspects of anonymity once it gets legitimized. So then some genius in 50 years or 20 years is going to go, hang on, I've created this other thing. It's called paper money or something. He's going and it's gonna all come round full circle. It's all gonna go like
Bitcoin's at 55,000 at the moment, so they've lost 10,000 in 18 hours.
I noticed that when I looked at my portfolio today. I was blaming it all on 1inch, and I thought because that one's just not been performing for me at all. But I feel like it's got to go up at some point. But
yeah, I mean, it'll either be worth nothing or 1 million in 10 years, I think. It's that kind of thing, all or nothing.
Because I know that EOS got bought by a bank. I know you're not really following EOS that much, but I think a couple of currencies got bought by a bank the other week, and that's why EOS soared. I think it reached. I mean, the all-time high for EOS is like I think it's like $18, and I think it reached $9 the other day because it dropped to like $3 for ages.
So, yeah, that's EOS, right?
Yeah, EOS, and the website I think is eos.io.
There's a pretty brutal picture in there, isn't there? I don't know if you've had much of a look at it.
I'm looking at it now. Actually, that's really piqued my interest. 2019 Tesla. I mean, that's a big deal because Tesla's whole shtick is our cars are super safe, and arguably one crash isn't the end of the world. I mean, it's the end of the world for this person potentially, but
I mean, it's not really a bad thing because this is like a 1 in a million kind of accident, right? There hasn't been a lot of crashes. I mean, there has been a few because of autopilot, but it is quite a big crash. And I mean, in this instance, the fire brigade had to phone up Tesla to ask them how to put the fire out. So I mean, there's definitely some things that need to be done before this is embraced for everyone.
Oh yeah, I mean, the things that concern me are, well, one, I have no idea how any of this works. Like, I'm guessing that the autopilot works on kind of like a sensors and GPS combination. So what happens when there's like a blip on the GPS for a few seconds? I mean, I guess it kind of goes like it recalibrates and tries to have fail safes, because I know that on a plane, like everything is wired up like 4 times. There's 3 safeties for every one thing on a plane.
Yeah, I mean, there's hundreds of sensors on a Tesla. So,
but like when you go under a tunnel and the lighting's not great, and I just imagine like going through the Channel Tunnel, in a Tesla.
I think that would be even easier job for the Tesla to work out than windy roads with deer running across it, and But yeah, there wasn't anyone in the actual driver's seat, and obviously you're supposed to have someone in the driver's seat still at the moment.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, I mean, that's just a stupid thing to do. I mean, I know you shouldn't talk bad of the dead, but that's not like follow the instructions, especially with new technology. It'd be like it'd be like, I don't know, turning on a blender with the lid off at that point. Like,
I think one of the biggest problems is that Tesla, they advertise it as autopilot.
Yeah.
And it's obviously not quite there yet, but it's getting very close by the looks of it.
No, I mean, it's kind of one of those really, really like you never want it to happen. You never want 2 people to die in any capacity of an accident, but like it can be considered a failure, whether it's human error, whether it's technological failure, whether it's a mixture of both. It's a place where Tesla can actually come, learn, and grow from. It's not like it's inevitable when thousands and thousands of these cars are out on the street, and it's just Ford. How many car crashes have happened in Ford, just normal Ford cars? Hundreds, thousands, uncountable amounts, I'm sure. So, yeah, I mean, it's tragedy, it's terrible, but it's kind of necessary. I wish no one died, but the fact that it happened and that was the consequence really shows that that's how they're going to move forward, and they can learn from it.
Yeah. Did you look at the other article, the on the front line in eastern Ukraine, a BBC article?
No, it's a video article though.
There is actually text to it as well, but yeah, the video is interesting. It's obviously a journalist who's on the border with them.
Because I was looking into this, because it's like almost all-out war, isn't it? It's getting to the point where tensions are getting very high, and it's not going to get resolved.
It's definitely tensions. I mean, in the video, they stay like trying to shoot down a drone that's come up to spy on them, and there's a lot of exchange of fire going on, but they're both just kind of like on their sides of the border at the moment. No one's obviously trying to make a move, but Russia have been massing like a lot of, I think like 90,000 troops there or something, and Ukraine's doing the same things. It doesn't look very good.
That's a really good video. Oh, wow. That's a really great find. Well done. Congratulations for reading the news.
You ready to stick out a thought on it?
Yeah. Like, one, I didn't realize drones carried, but I would have thought they'd have like a small gun on them or something, but I didn't realize they carried like grenades that they could just drop. I mean, it makes sense from a war point of view. It's never something I've thought of before.
Yeah, it's obviously a very basic drone. Obviously they have UAVs with like missiles on and stuff as well, but that's way more, high tech stuff.
What you wouldn't like? It's not even necessary, I guess. I mean, the damage a grenade can do by itself, and how much they could probably send out a bunch of those drones in quick succession. Like, it's crazy. So the whole situation, I mean, it's escalated because it's not a new situation. It's been going on for a while. I try to, ironically, doing a podcast talking about the news, I try to be quite ignorant with the things going on in the world. So it's because if you have like information overload and you take in all these things and they bring you down, like, and it's like day in day out. That's what happened to me with COVID news. Like I just, even though like my job relies on me knowing the travel restrictions and stuff, I was like, I can't watch any more of this. Like after about 8 months, I gave up on it. I don't know what the death rate is anymore. Like, but
I think a lot of people gave up in general with it, to be honest with you, especially the way you see people acting in it. But
yeah, no, I can see that. Anyway, I mean, I can go back and edit in what you were talking about on the video from before, but do you have any final thoughts on it?
not majorly. I mean, Russia, they seem to be just kind of pushing their borders in a few places. These are all like strategic places and places with lots of resources and that. And yeah, it's just raising kind of world tension. Really, it's not ideal, is it?
Hey, this is Nick in post production. We didn't introduce the topic. Birmingham launches task force as babies die at twice the national rate. So yeah, we just kind of jump right into it. The video version, you can see that we put it on screen for you to see. It's just something I found really interesting when I came across it because I was like, oh,
yeah.
So Birmingham.
It says like, for example, people of Pakistani origin, 50% of more of the population practice consanguinity.
I don't know what that means.
Which is cousin to cousin stuff.
Consanguinous.
I mean, that's just what it says in the article. So.
The report said a fifth. So basically, the article, all of this will be linked in the description down below. I'll probably say that at the beginning as well. Birmingham launches a task force as babies die at twice the national rate. So in Birmingham, than they do all around the country. And yeah, research has shown women living in the most deprived areas had an 80% higher risk of stillbirth and neonatal deaths compared to women living in the least deprived areas. And of course, I mean, it is a fascinating read, and it was something I was really surprised to come across when doing my, well, obviously poor research. That's a weird word.
Yeah, seems like a common, more common practice in their culture.
Yeah,
it's obviously not good.
No, yeah, definitely. There is awareness that when you marry a closer relative, there is a higher risk that your child may have some complications around its birth. But I think that's often dismissed because the communities we are working with are predominantly of Pakistani origin, and in Pakistan, 50% or more of the population practice consanguinity. It's something that's quite normalized. Wow. I mean, I didn't know that at all. I mean, it's one of those things that you never think about because it doesn't, like, it's not.
Yeah.
Something.
Well, it's just differences in culture, isn't it? I mean, related to the article, I mean, I think British culture, we'd be very, we'd be kind of against this thing morally.
Oh yeah, it's not something.
But yeah, it's not common, is it? Normally in Britain.
No, we need to address that blatant inequality. So a baby born in a particular area to a person of a particular ethnicity has just as much a chance of survival as I mean, I don't know how they're going to tackle that problem though, because
it doesn't sound like they really can.
I mean, getting a task
force sounds like a culture
problem,
really, doesn't it? I mean,
it is, and other than like completely hammering down and intervening and being like, no, stop it.
I think like the Conservatives really need to tap more into their morality. In general, I don't think that, like, in general, Conservatives are quite moral. That's kind of part of them, and that the current party don't kind of represent or show any of that at all. And that would be probably quite beneficial to a lot of people in general, I think.
It's a problem that has to be tackled by the community leaders. The task force can't just be government officials. It has to be people that are respected, and we can't. It has to be an internal change. We can't like try to externally influence other people's cultures. You know.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, I think that if someone wants to be British, they should also embrace British culture. Um,
True.
I think that's quite important. Part of being British is
Uh,
accepting British culture.
I mean, with places like England and even America by extension, like our culture is an amalgamation of the cultures we've adopted anyway. Yeah, we've paved our own path over time, but you take the Romans out of us, and you take the Norse out of us, and you take the French out of us, and even the
Our
Germans out of
culture
us.
mostly comes from kind of Christian morality. Um,
Yeah, I
though
know,
there
but
aren't many
there's
Christians
Roman,
here now.
there's
It's where
Roman.
it came from.
I mean, Rome had Christianity towards the end of it. You know, Ireland has a strain of Christianity as well. I know Ireland's a part of Britain, but we take bits and pieces from everywhere we've come from. Like, I mean, I did a DNA test the other week. Did I tell you? Like, um, I'm 38% Iberian, which I didn't even know. Like, 38% of
Nice.
my DNA comes from like Portugal and Spain, and then 32% is English, and then 12. I think 11% is Eastern European, and I'm like one
Yeah,
and
I
a
mean,
half percent Jewish.
well, both Portugal and Spain, had ports all over the world at one point. So,
Yeah,
their DNA is widespread. A bit like, I mean, that's just European DNA, really, isn't
exactly. I mean, my point is that even though I've spent my whole life in Britain and my grandparents and great grandparents are British, and uh, someone on my dad's side has charted a family tree going back to the 1500s, like categorically, a large percentage of my being is Iberian.
Right, so just want to interrupt this broadcast to push a petition that's going around in Parliament in the UK. If you're in the UK, you should definitely sign this. It's repeal Section 127 of the Communications Act. Basically, it's to expunge all convictions of those who have been prosecuted under this section. And yeah, I mean, it's basically over the last decade, people have been convicted under the pretense of grossly offensive material, which there is no definition of, including jokes and petty arguments. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people who appreciate free speech, would support getting rid of these laws where anyone could basically just say they're offended by something and someone could be prosecuted for that.
Oh, okay. I'm just looking into it now. I just pulled it up on my screen, so um, I can share this. Actually, no, I won't. I'll just edit it in later. Um, Improper use of public electronic communications network is what 127 talks about. A person is guilty of an offence if he sends by means of public electronic communications network a message or other matter that is grossly offensive or of an incident obscene or menacing character. Such causes any such message or matter to be so sent. A person is guilty of an offence if, for the purpose of causing annoyance, inconvenience, or needlessly anxiety to others, to another, he
So you
sends
can be
by,
prosecuted for spicy meats, basically,
yeah, he sends by
or
means of a
video.
public. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's very vague. Edit in
Well,
post.
we'll stick links in for all these things anyway at the end. So
Yeah, I mean, that's
maybe how to
cool.
find that, and we'll put some bits in. But yeah, I mean, you should definitely sign it if you haven't signed it.
Yeah, I'll
Support
do
free
it now.
speech
I love free speech. Half of the things I say are ridiculous.
and
Uh,
offensive.
Most likely.
And then
Uh,
we'll go on to your, I think the independent article is probably the next one.
how are you guys liking the podcast so far? If you've made it this far, give it a like and hit
Or tell us where
subscribe.
we've gone wrong.
Oh yeah, definitely. Please criticize us in the comments.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot
Okay.
to say.
Oh, I liked this one because I know that you're a purveyor of beverages, and I thought we can talk. I know you're more of a beer guy, and you're not. I don't think you're a bourbon guy, but yeah. And it's to do with kind of British politics with the tariffs that are coming in for alcohol trade with the transatlantic trade deal. Um, so
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it looks like they're trying to put a 25% tariff on whiskey shipped to the UK.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, and
yeah.
EU tariff is set to double to 50% in June, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to sell much in Europe if they like increase the price that much.
Well, I was speaking to my friend in Seattle, and he enjoys a beer every now and again. But like, we were on Zoom the other day, and he said that it was like if he wanted to get like a 6 pack of beers, it was $20. So the price, like the cost of alcohol, is so exorbitant in the States, especially where he was living in Seattle, which is admittedly a high price area. Um, but I can get the same beers he was drinking from like Tesco or Sainsbury's for like a third of the price. So it's so normal to them, they don't see it as a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about how it is in America.
I
Um,
mean, yeah, I was just using it as a comparison because yeah, that wouldn't fly over here.
yeah, we drink a lot, and I think that's part of why it's cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, we
Uh,
have 3 additional years per person.
yeah, I mean, I'd imagine they'll sort something out to make this cheaper for both sides because we want to buy it and they want to sell it, really.
I mean, yeah, I think you're right, and I mean, it's kind of going into our next article as well, I believe. But with the whole Brexit ordeal that's happened, it's been playing the long game. Like, we know England knows their value. We're a very old country. I think people often forget that. You know, we've been invaded and we've survived each time and we've come out stronger. Okay, we maybe have changed and been a bit different and we've taken the good and left the bad, but we're a very old country and we know how to get things done. Like the people in charge that have been in charge for generations, because let's face it, the wealthy get wealthier. They do stay there. They do know how to play the game, and it's like I don't want to get overly political and go into all this Brexit stuff. But
Well, did you want to go into the other article?
so yeah, Leo Varadkar finally admits EU is weaker and poorer without the UK, and Brexit will make the EU a weaker union. I mean, it's it's something that a lot of people have been saying for a long time because again, we know our value as a country, and you can put whatever label you want onto it. Whoever the people negotiating this deal knew, they didn't care if it took 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. They knew that they could negotiate themselves a better position and get, you know, because the contributions compared to returns just wasn't, what we expected. I'm no economist, I'm no politician, I'm barely a political commentator at this point, but back in what was it, 2016, the vote happened, was it?
Yeah, I think it's been about 4 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like basically that EU's been very stubborn about this, and they've tried to use England as, they've tried to set an example of us to try and stop other people from wanting to leave the union. When realistically, they probably should have, you know, cooperated with us and done a decent deal from the get-go that would benefit both sides. But by not doing that, they've kind of created a fracture. In the EU, there are a lot of other countries now that are talking about, maybe they'd be better outside. There's a lot of other problems going on as well in and
you
out
know
the EU.
because that's it. You kind of hit the nail on the head, and there's not a lot I can elaborate on. That they kind of tried to, you know, have a measuring contest. Who's got the biggest stick, and the EU together is a very powerful state. It's what, 26, 27 member states at the moment, which
There's quite a few.
yeah. And okay, the UK is a kingdom of Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England, and we got the Channel Islands and a few things like we're relatively small, but we are an island. We we're self sufficient. We were thriving prior to the EU, and we're going to thrive post the EU. The reason there's a video on my channel where I spoke about the Fisheries Act of 2020, and that there's a reason that the EU was scared and was annoyed about the rights for our water, because we can basically set whatever precedent we like, and the combination of the policies, the statutes that make up the act, I guess, my terminology might be wrong, really does put restrictions, because we can control what part of the water at what time of year, how many boats, how the amount they can catch, and we can set whatever penalties we like, because we're taking control. We have autonomy of our land, of our resources. You know, it is a multi-billion-dollar industry. I think, if I remember correctly, I might be quoting this wrong, it was like mid 50 billions is how much money the fishing industry generates each year for, like, in the UK alone, and that's less than 2% of our.
Yeah, I mean, just to get kind of back to the article a little bit, I mean, I just pulled this up quickly, and it's actually a bit out of date, this article. It's December 26th, but Liz Truss has been going around getting trade deals, and as of December the 26th, so that's, I mean, 4 months ago now, she'd negotiated 61 trade deals, obviously with countries we didn't have deals with before, and that's worth £867 billion of trade that she's created. I mean, she's like the hero of Brexit, really.
There's a significant portion of. We're a massive producer. Like, I didn't know if you knew that, and we can cut this if you think this is going to get flagged, but the UK is the biggest producer of medicinal cannabis in the world. Not recreational, but medicinal. We export it. We're not even allowed to use it, basically. I think there's like a very, very minute amount of people that can use it for medicinal purposes in the UK. But there's
I'm not sure exactly how it works, because we actually, like you say, it's a bunch of CBD flower we produce. And technically it's hemp. So I'm not sure if it is actually illegal. I don't think it is. I think it's something you can just get hold of now, but it's obviously not very common yet.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not 100% sure on how it works, but I know that we are the biggest supplier in the whole world for medicinal marijuana, and we have a lot of value. And it's going back to what I was saying at the beginning, that we have a lot to offer, and that, you know, outside Europe, there are 6 other continents in the world. You know, there are plenty of countries. There's Japan as well. There's America. There's South American countries, like some of them are coming up. Central America as well, like South Africa, and the actual continent of Africa, built of hundreds of countries. Like, yeah, if we can't negotiate in our own backyard, we're going to move out. We have a track record. We've gone across the world before. We can do it again.
I mean, I think you're right. I mean, like I said, 67 countries they've made deals with. I mean, that's twice the amount of people in the EU. And obviously, as a member of the EU, you're only allowed to trade with people in the EU without tariffs, and there's rules. And yeah, I mean, I think as an organisation, the EU is just kind of outgrown its initial ideas, which is probably why we end up leaving, really, in the first place. Yeah, well, thanks to anyone who joined us.
This mouth garbage that I've spouted for an hour. Yeah, please do check it out and stay subscribed to our channel and hit that bell.
And definitely correct all of our mistakes, of which there were probably many.
Yeah. Was it you that was sending me messages?
Yeah.
Right. Wicked. 0 o'clock. Should we end this recording? End this travesty?